All right, this is a prime example of a big laydown in the back of a spawning pocket. This is gonna be one of them areas that those fish are gonna transition to. I mean, there's gonna be fish sometime this year that'll probably spawn around this tree, okay? So one of the biggest things I get asked, and I'm gonna put this jig down right now, and I'm gonna pick up another flipping rod, and I'm gonna pick up a rod that's got a soft plastic on it. And this is a baby rage bug. As you can see, once again, it is a small profile, finesse style bait, 1/4 ounce range tungsten weight, but it's got a 4/0 straight shank flipping hook in it, okay? That's a big hook, big line, big rod, but it's a finesse style bait, okay? And we're gonna get in here and we're gonna work on this tree and we're gonna pick it apart, okay? But what I like to do, and I get asked this so much, is like, Bill, how do you set up on a piece of cover? I've seen so many guys where they'll pull up to this piece of cover and they'll just make a cast across it, you know, and they may get a bite on the other side of the piece of cover, and there's a pretty good chance that you'll get a bite and that fish will get hung up in that piece of cover, or maybe you won't be able to get him out of it, okay? So let's say there was 3 fish in there and you get a fish wrapped up in there, you've probably ruined the chance of you catching another fish in that tree, okay? So what I like to do, regardless of what any kind of piece of cover I'm fishing, as you can see, big laydown, it's got a beaver hut starting to be built in the back of it. There's another big laydown on the other side of it. Regardless of where I'm at in the country or whatever type piece of cover I'm fishing, I always want to start on the outside and work my way in, okay? And by doing that, if there's any fish out here in the outside, I can pluck those off, okay? Let's just say I pull up to this tree and I go right into the heart of it, all right? And I catch one and he gets all tangled up in there and I got to go in there and get him. Yeah, I caught one, but there may be 3 or 4 in there. And if I think there's 5 fish in there, I at least want to catch 4 of them. So by starting on the outside and plucking off the easy ones and working your way into the heart of it, I feel like you're going to get yourself a lot more bites. So I'll pull up to every piece of cover typically, put the raptors down, and I'll start working on the outside of this cover. I'll start way out here on the very end of it. And it's not very deep out here, 2-3 foot at the most. And I'll get that bait in there and I'm gonna soak it around, dead stick it a lot. I'm gonna let it lay down in there and just keep shaking it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out on this outside edge first. I wanna start on this outside edge and I wanna pick it apart. Like I said, if there's 5 fish in there, I wanna try to catch 4 of them. But by starting on this outside edge and working our way in, we can increase our chances of one, getting more bites off of a single piece of cover. So like I said, I'll typically pull up there, put those raptors down, start out here on this outside edge, and just start picking on her. Just start plucking her apart. And a lot of times during this time of the year, like I said, during these frontal conditions, you almost want to dead stick that bait and leave it in there. As you can see, I'm leaving it sitting there. I'll pull it up to a limb, I'll shake it around a little bit. I just always feel like I want to keep that bait in front of that fish's face as long as I can. And then I'll start working my way back into the heart of the tree. Just keep plucking on it. I mean, hell, there's places in there you may cast to this tree 100 times and never put it in the right spot. You know, I think so many times as anglers, we get in a hurry, we want to get to the next piece of cover, and we make 1 or 2 pitches to a piece of cover and go on to the next. There's days when I see where it takes you 5 or 6 pitches to 1 piece of cover to get a bite. Heck, some days it's 10 pitches. And I think a lot of guys miss that opportunity, as where they'll make 1 or 2 pitches to it and keep going on to the next one. You know, it's no different when you're throwing a square bill or a spinner bait, or hell, I may make 5 or 6 casts to 1 laydown with a spinner bait. There we go. You can see that, I mean, prime example. You couldn't have scripted it any better. I had that bait down there in the laydown and was almost dead sticking it, just holding it in place and shaking it, and all I felt was thunk right there. So, I mean, finesse presentation, big heavy flipping rod. You seen that fish was down there. That fish was down there in the trash. If I would have had a small finesse style bait on a spinning rod, an 8-pound line, there's a pretty good chance I'd have never got that bite. And if I would have got the bite, I'd have never got that fish out of there. So 20-pound Invisex, big 4-aught flipping hook right in the roof of the mouth where you want it, but a little small rage bug, a little finesse style bait, gonna get you bites like that, especially in the spring during these frontal conditions.
Bass U, folks. Information is pouring over. If you want to learn more about every lake, how to fish, shallow, deep, in between, skipping docks and rocks and cranking, slow wiggling, chatter, smattering, you get it at Bass U. Get on Bass U TV, check it out, sign up, be a member, be part of it, folks. Keep learning.